Okay, so today what we're going to be discussing is how you narrow down the houses that you're going to actually go to visit to determine whether you are going to go after any given property. So when I get up in the morning, I generally start looking for listings and see what came on the previous day, the night. And I generally come up with about 10 to 20 possible listings. And going to see 10 to 20 possible listings can take up your entire day. So what I like to do is I like to run comps on those listings to narrow down which ones I'm actually going to go visit. Okay, so um, what I do is I get onto my local MLS, and in this case, I've identified a property on Moyer Avenue that's on my list of possible homes to see today. So I've done that legwork so you don't have to sit through that. Um, so this property is 6404 Moyer, and that is in Northeast Baltimore City, fairly close to the city-county line. So as soon as I pull it up, there's a few things I'm looking for. Number one, what is the size? So you can see when my mouse is hovering, it's 1,334 square feet. All right, then what I'm looking for, of course, price is 84.9. And then the other thing I need to see is what type of property is it. So I'm looking for the style, and I'm looking for any photos I can get and any information I get from the listing. All right, so I can see looking at the picture, it's a Cape Cod, and it's listed as a Cape Cod. Um, and if I scroll through the pictures, let me pull that screen up real quick. All right, so you can see that's the back of the house. This looks like an attic area. Looks like a living room. That's a bathroom. Clearly needs to be gutted, and a street view. So it doesn't tell me a ton about the house, but I can get an idea. It needs some work. It's a Cape Cod, and it's not a complete gut, probably. It's not a burnout. I didn't see anything crazy in those photos. One little side note is when you're looking at listings from an investment standpoint, don't be afraid of a house if there's no pictures or if there's only one picture. An agent wants you to come to the house. So they're not going to show you but so much. They're going to show you what they think will get you out there. Well, if it's a really bad house, it may not have any pictures. And it may not have any pictures just because they didn't feel like taking any. It doesn't mean it's a bad deal. And quite frankly, the best deals are the ones where they sometimes can't show you any pictures because um, the worst houses oftentimes make the best deals. If you are looking at a house that is not in too bad shape, maybe needs carpet paint, maybe needs some updating here or there, and you could put it back on the market with very little money, a lot of times you're competing with owner occupants. And when you're competing with owner occupants, you almost will never win because they can buy a house, and if the neighborhood is worth 150 and they are going to get it and be in it for 145, they're perfectly happy. We can't do that. So just keep in mind that when you are searching, if you don't see a lot of pictures, that's okay. Just go look at the statistics for the house. So anyway, 64 for Moyer. We got the basics, 85,000. It's 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. It has a basement, and it is 1,334 square feet. Great. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my criteria, and I'm going to look for similar homes. So first of all, I'm highlighting the status, active, pending, and settled sales. And I want to generally go back about 6 months. So I'm putting 185 days for my range of dates that I want to search. So I'm searching back 6 months. And then I'm searching detached homes. I don't want to look at townhouses. I don't want to look at condos. I don't want to look at semi-detached. I want to look at single family homes, okay? Then in some cases, I know I'm looking at Cape Cods, so I might be tempted to click Cape Cod, right? However, what this does is it limits my search. it's only going to give me Cape Cod style houses. And you would think that would be a good idea. However, agents use a lot of variance when it comes to style. So you can have what I call a Cape Cod, and they may list it as a bungalow. I've seen them listed as colonials. And you see all these different styles of home, and I would just advise you to leave that blank because you don't want to miss a good comp just because somebody listed it under a different style. Okay, so as you can see, you scroll down, this gives me 500 houses. That's way too many. The reason that it gives me 500 houses is because so far I'm searching the entire MLS. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on my map and I'm gonna type in the address right up here where it says jump to address, 6404 Moyer. All right, press enter. It takes me to my spot. Now I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so I can get my radius the way I want. And I'm gonna click on this little circle right up here at the top. This is for a radius search. When you click on it, it'll turn yellow. And I'm just gonna search out this, in this part of town, I would search about 1/3 of a mile. So you see I'm stretching my radius to 1/3 of a mile. All right, great. So that gives me 1/3 of a mile search, and I go back to my criteria. And now what I'm seeing is that 500 is now down to 39. So that's a decent number to start with. So I got 39 listings that might make sense for me, okay? So I go to my results, and first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sort it. Um, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set it up where I'm sorting it by status. And I sort it by status because the first thing I'm looking for, of course, I want to highlight my subject property. However, if there happens to be some other houses that didn't come up that uh, that are in the same neighborhood that I haven't noticed yet, I'm going to scroll over to the prices. So my subject price is 84.9, but I'm looking to see if there's any other 80, 90, 70,000 dollar properties in this area that I can go look at while I'm looking at this one. Sometimes you don't find it and you just find it randomly like this, and you can find some good deals that way. So I can see from looking at the active listings 250, 249, 229, 189, 160, etc. There's nothing really worth grabbing and adding to my list of possible properties to search. So I'm going to go back over, and I know that my building is 1,334 square feet. So I'm going to now sort my houses by size because I want to find similar size properties. I don't want 17, 1,800 square feet houses, and I don't want 700 or 800 square foot houses. I want something as big as mine is in that range or smaller, but not larger. So I sort it by tax living area. Okay. And then I'm going to go back and sort it by status. And what that does is that puts all my sold comps in order of size. Okay, so now what do I see? I don't want my 18. I don't want another 18. I don't want 16, 16. So the first one I see that's in my size range, 1385. Click it. This one at 1364, I'm sure was an investment property. Here's a 1351. I want to see what that is. 1349. Let me see what that is. 1326. Great. 1314. Some of them I'm skipping over, like this 115 and this 90. I know those are investment properties, so I'm not going to bother clicking on those. 1275. 1084. I'm clicking that because that one sold for 278. So do I want to look at a smaller house that sold for a lot of money? Absolutely. So we have now clicked on 9 listings, including the subject property. And now we're going to refine that. So I clicked on refine, and I'm going to keep the ones that I want to scroll through. So I need to look at these 8 comps in order to determine whether it's worth me looking at this house. And, just a reminder, 84.9 is the list price. So I order them in order of price, and I want to start right at the bottom where the most expensive one is at because that's my best shot. So I click on that. That's 3600 Glenmore, okay? I like to scroll through the pictures sometimes, but mainly I'm looking at the statistics of the house. So I can see It was listed for 278. It sold for 278. They gave a seller subsidy of 83.40. What that means is, from a value standpoint, 278 minus 83.40 says that the value of this house for comparable purposes is around 280. Now I'm looking to see bedrooms and baths. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. Okay, great. Now I'm going to read the remarks. Renovated from top to bottom. That's really all I need to know. I'll look at the basement to see if it was finished. They say it's a full basement, doesn't specify whether it was finished, and I don't see any living area that was below grade. So I'm going to assume that this is just a 4 bedroom, 3 bath with an unfinished basement. Now, one thing to also look at is parking. I see here 2-car garage. So I know that if mine doesn't have a garage, I'm probably not going to get the same price as this house. Okay, so keep that in mind. But this is a good comp, so we're going to keep that one. 3600 Glenmore. Great. 6110 Bertram. Listed for 249.9. Sold for 249.9, and a seller subsidy of 74.97. So say 242. It was 3 bedrooms, 3 full baths. And you got to keep this in mind when you're going to walk through your property, that if you want to get 250, you're probably going to have to make it something like that, 3 bedrooms, 3 baths. Don't have 3 bedroom, 1 bath and list it at 250 because it's going to be hard to sell. And you make your money when you buy the house. All right, so we're scrolling down, similar size, 1351, and we read that the basement is fully finished, so you got to keep that in mind. And they talk about stainless steel, renovated kitchen, granite countertops, soaking tub. It doesn't give me enough detail, so I'd like to see some pictures on this one. So I click on my album, and I just want to scroll through. Okay, so I can see it's very well decorated. They either staged it or somebody's living here. But a nice looking house. Yeah, I believe somebody's living here, or they staged it. One thing that I'm noting here, look at this, what appears to be an addition that they put on. Now, if you're not planning on putting on an addition, do not expect 250, because this is what gets 250, and it has an addition. This looks almost like a colonial now, right? But it's a Cape Cod, so I'm gonna say hold on to it as a comp. Now, looking at these other pictures of the master, what you can see is that they did that entire addition to do a really mean master suite, and that's great. If you're interested in doing something like what they did, then you can probably expect to get around that same price. Some people are going to be okay with doing that level of work, and some people don't want to really get into that. This looks like the basement. Um, so great, you have a very good feel for what they have done. One thing about real estate that's great, it's very predictable. One of the most predictable investments that you can make. And so the beautiful thing is you have a roadmap to success, because somebody already did what you're trying to do. Otherwise, you wouldn't have any comps in the last 6 months. All right. So we're going to back out of here, and we're going to keep this as a comp. But we got to keep in mind all the things that we said about it, that could affect what we can get for ours. Okay. Next listing, 3137 Northway. All right. So listed for 222.9, sold for 215, 8,600 subsidy. So we're gonna say 206. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, 1,058 square feet. Great. This is smaller than yours. So if you do a similar renovation, you can expect more money. Fully finished basement. Let's look at the parking. Street parking, great, because we know ours does not have a garage or a driveway, although you can put one in if you want to. But figure 206 is the market for this house that is smaller. And if this house is smaller and got 206, at 300 square feet larger, you can generally expect to get, another 10 or 15,000 out of yours. All right, so you may say this one would push mine to somewhere around 215 to 220, something like that. Okay. All right, so that's a keeper. 6104 Sefton. All right, so what I'm seeing is that right off the bat, This is listed as a colonial. We don't want colonials because buyers looking for colonials are not going to pay what they're going to pay for a Cape Cod generally. All right. But we see it's 209. It had a $11,000 subsidy, etc. But this is basically one we're going to eliminate. Okay. So I unchecked it. 6101 Alta. Now this is one that's lower than the others. 185,000, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. Tastefully renovated, 4 bedroom, 2 bath Cape Cod in Hamilton. Updated kitchen, galley kitchen, so that means they did not open up the kitchen most likely. Granite countertop, stainless steel, fully finished basement, and it's about the same size as ours. Let's see, parking, there's street parking, great. Okay, let's look at some photos. I can see from the first photo that the siding has not been updated. So from an exterior standpoint, it doesn't have the curb appeal that some people might like. It is open. There's not a lot of definition to the layout so far, but you know, a decent renovation. Nothing really spectacular so far jumps out. Nice yard. Fairly basic on the bathroom, it looks like. Basic on the basement. Those are bedrooms. Okay. So that gives us, I think, what I would call my floor. Sort of your worst case scenario, if you do a very basic renovation on this $85,000 house, you can fully expect to get at least $185. All right. So we're gonna keep that as our floor. Next listing, 6408 Eastern Parkway. Listed for 175, sold for 175, $7 subsidy. So say 168, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Gorgeous upper level, recently remodeled with 2 bedrooms, new bath with shower, new carpet, kitchen remodel. So when you see agents calling out all those individual things, you can probably assume that the house is not fully remodeled. So you're probably competing with a house that has updates, but not a full renovation. Because if it was a full renovation, they would say that most of the time. Partially finished basement, similar square footage. Let's look at some photos. Yeah, you know, in good shape, in good shape. Look at the appliances, look at the cabinets, look at the floor. It's not a modern renovation. This might have been renovated 10, 15 years ago. And it's just, look, the bathroom needs updating. So, you know, not bad, but definitely not like what we would do when it comes to renovation. So again, you can keep that as sort of a floor, um, but expect that you're going to do a little bit better than that because you're going to do a full renovation. 6200 Eastern Parkway, that is a Cape Cod, sold for 173 minus 3,000, so 170. 4 bedrooms, 1 bath. Well, that's one way that you can almost always tell that a property is not a full renovation because most people are not going to do a full renovation with just 1 bathroom. But looking down at the remarks, Cape Cod corner lot, and it just isolates a lot of the updates. The kitchen 2012, appliances from 2012, the furnace 2012, and all these things. So you know it's not a full renovation. And so you're going to say that that's another one that's probably just a floor. So your floor, your worst case scenario is probably in that 170, 175 range. And so you know going into your building that if you walk into an $85,000 house and say you can bring it up to the standard of one of these houses for 40,000, then you can expect a profit of 25 to 35,000 after your hard and soft costs. All right, last listing we're going to look at is 3400 Westfield, $150,000 listing, 1,350 square feet, so similar size, and it just says it's a nice house. If you read the remarks, it talks about a lovely Cape Cod on a corner lot. Doesn't talk about updates or anything. So that's a positive sign because here's a house that's probably not a renovation at all. That's probably just something somebody lived in, and that's great. If that's 150 and you're looking at an $85,000 house that you're going to update. Yeah, you can see it's just a house that somebody probably cared for, but not necessarily something that you're going to use as a comp. So that's all our comps. And what that does, I'm gonna go back to my regular screen. I'm gonna keep the ones that I want, and I may print these out or I may email them to myself. But I have this done, and that tells me this one is worth going out to. Now, where do I end up at? Looking at these comps, I would say with the type of renovation that we do, we're gonna expect to list this property somewhere around 215 to 225 and probably expect to net at least 210. And so if I go into that building and it needs, say, anywhere less than 70 to $80,000 in work, um, I would probably be pulling a trigger on this. If it needs 50 or 60, I'm definitely pulling a trigger on it because it's a great margin. All right, so that is what we do when we're isolating comps. You can take, 10 or 15 minutes, and you can go through and see if it's going to make sense for you to actually go out there and take a look at it. And I usually end up narrowing it down to 4 or 5 that I'm going to look at for the day, and that gives me the office that we're going to put in that day. All right. Thank you. You guys have a great day.